Now, yesterday, a jury recommended sentencing Dylann Roof to death for the crime of killing 9 black church members in a what's considered a racially motivated attack. Which, if you look at the facts of it, it definitely is a racially motivated attack. Now,
Yeah.
Talking Points memo reports that a jury had deliberated his sentence for about 3 hours. Uh, I'd say a couple hours too long, since it seems obvious. The jurors noted that during this trial, where Dylann Roof did not defend himself, he asked no questions, showed no remorse, and also addressed the jurors directly, insisting that he was not mentally ill. So he just so because of that, he's not asking them for forgiveness or mercy or anything like that. So it was pretty clear that the death penalty is actually what he wanted to do, and it seems like that's exactly what he got. Now, he also reportedly told jurors that, quote, I feel like I still had to do it, and then given a chance that he would end up doing this again. So, obviously, no remorse. This guy is the worst of the worst. Horrible person, okay? And, the thing is here, we're not trying to really kind of litigate, is Dylann Roof a terrible person or not? We already know, okay? What I really want to discuss with you, Ron, is whether or not a case like this would merit the death penalty or not, or just what you would think about the death penalty in this case.
And that's a tough question. I
It
think a
is.
lot of us are really struggling with. I do think that you can't always just be like, well, this person is ill. Because I do think there is such a thing as just pure evil. And I think that if there was somebody that would definitely fall into that category, he would. I mean, this is an evil, evil person to kill 9 people, to see members of their families, uh, and to feel no remorse whatsoever for what you did. Um, that's disturbing to say the least. And it's just because
Yeah.
you subscribe to some racist, hateful ideology, and you
Yeah.
killed people in a church, no less.
Yeah. I mean, like that's the
Not
thing
that the
too.
location really matters, but in a place of worship, um, I mean, it's really hard. On the same note, I mean, generally, I'm incredibly against the death penalty because of mainly because of all the corruption in our justice system.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much racism in our justice system. There's so much inequality when it comes to, you can really buy your justice if you're able to, and if you're not able to, you're up the creek without a paddle. And for those reasons, I'm very against the death penalty. And on a moral ground, I'm against the death penalty too.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of those principles don't apply here, and yeah, it's a tough judgment call because sometimes
Right.
it's like, man, this guy is just pure evil. I want to say, like, my gut instinct is I still would rather see him spend the rest of his life in jail. I mean, without any chance of ever being set
Right.
free. I mean, he should never, ever see the outside of a jail cell ever again in his life. Um, I do think that if you keep him in jail, there is a chance that maybe he could have a change of heart. I mean, maybe not, but maybe he could. And I also think that being in jail would actually be a greater punishment for him. I think this is a fearful, confused, disturbed individual that does not value life, including their own. And I think that by giving him the death penalty, like you kind of said, Jeff, you're giving him what he wants. I'd rather see him spend the rest of his life behind bars.
Yeah.
I think that would be more suiting for the crime, suited for who he is, and I think that would really, I think that would really also at least give a chance for some type of redemption. Where who knows, maybe something would happen. This guy would have a complete change of heart, and he would write a book or something like that, or he would give a talk, and maybe there's some other youth that are subscribing to some similar ideology from what he did, and they see what he went through, and they hear his perspective. I mean, like, I know it's a fictional movie, but it's a very powerful film, American History X, right? The little brother wasn't leaving the racist ideology when his sister told him how fucked up it was, when his teachers told him how fucked up it was. He had to hear it from his brother. He had to hear it from his brother that was also part of the white supremacist
Hmm.
organization and got in trouble and then learned the errors of his ways. He had to hear it from his brother to walk away from it. And yes, that is a movie, but I think there's some kind of inherent truths there. So yeah, I think Dylann Roof is a despicable human being that is pure evil. I don't think he's mentally ill based on everything that's been available from him. But I'd rather see him spend the rest of his life in jail without any chance of ever getting out, no matter what, as opposed to the death penalty.
Yeah, look, you said he's pure evil. I think he's more of a coward than anything. He's probably the
Yeah, he's
biggest
a
coward that
coward.
I've
You
ever
can be
seen.
both.
I guess you
They're
could
not
be.
separate.
I could be, but see, this guy, I mean, again, you're giving him what he wants. Now he said that,
Mm-hmm.
quote, I have the right to ask you to give me a life sentence, but I'm not sure what good that would do anyway. Well, I don't know. Maybe it would give him time to suffer with his actions instead of
Right.
getting the easy way out. See, and this is, I guess this goes back to my whole belief structure. Being an atheist, I don't believe there's anything afterwards, right? You don't one and done. That's it. Lights out. Okay, no suffering, no afterlife, no whatever. And so I think that is the easy way out. I would definitely rather see him suffer for the rest of his life sitting in a prison cell rotting. I mean, again,
Mm-hmm.
this guy, like, he picked out a church. Okay, and again, you're right. The location doesn't quite matter. I mean, you could do this in a mall, but he picked out a place that would specifically be defenseless. Specifically be welcoming and open and kind to someone like him, because he didn't have the balls to go somewhere else where he actually might face any sort of resistance. And in order to
Right.
try to create his warped fantasy of having a race war. I mean, let me give you a quote here from Assistant U.S. Attorney General, or I'm sorry, Attorney Jay Richardson. He said, quote, "They welcomed a 13th person that night, the people at the AME Emmanuel Church, with a kind word, a Bible, a a handout, and a chair. He had come with a hateful heart and a Glock 45. And the gunman, of course, Roof sat with the Bible study group for about 45 minutes and then waited until their eyes were closed during the final prayer to go and shoot, to go and kill everybody. I mean, this is the height of cowardice. And so
Yeah.
I do think, I mean, for people who are cheering on the death penalty, I understand. Because if the death penalty is made for anybody, it is for this guy. I mean, it was
Right.
made for this guy. But at the same time, I want to remain consistent. I have some serious issues with the death penalty here in America, with execution. So I don't believe I'm with you. I don't believe that he should be put to death. I think he should spend the rest of his days in prison. Again,
Yeah.
like I said, and I've got some reasons. The easy way out. Okay, you know.
Right.
And I also agree that, and you might disagree, I should say, but I feel as though that when you punish someone by killing them, it doesn't really teach them that effective of a lesson. And it doesn't teach anybody else a lesson either.
No,
It's not
I
a
do
deterrent.
agree, and that's why I said what I said. I
Hmm.
certainly think this guy does deserve to be punished for what he. Of course, I mean, and it should be a severe punish. He does deserve to suffer in jail,
It does.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the other side of that too, he's in his early 20s, right? He's like what, 21, 22 years old. I mean, if he spent the rest of his life in jail, that's a long time. That would be presumably a long, long time. And if something positive did happen, if something like and even if something positive happened, I'm not saying he should ever see the light of day again, no matter what. This guy could see the errors of his way, write a book, give a talk, really like say that I've learned the errors of my way, and then save a black inmate from choking on his lunch because he learned CPR. He still should never see the light of day again. But what I'm saying is, if that were to happen and he would inspire somebody else that was maybe a little confused and wasn't confused anymore because they learned that that's not the way to go because of him, then I feel like that's a little bit of redemption, not just for him, but for a lot of those families and for a lot of those loved ones of the victims. So yeah, and of course, because I do think life in jail is a more significant punishment than just being put to death.
It's not like,
for all those reasons,
it's not like prison is a nice place. It's not like it's Club Med, okay? It's a pretty terrible place, okay? But here's another argument against the death penalty in this case. You're going to make him a martyr to white supremacists. Again, I keep pointing out, it's what he wants. It's what he wants. He wants to be a hero of the worst of human beings, okay? Mm-hmm. He wants to go to his grave knowing that he's going to be remembered for this one act. And he's going to be celebrated for what he did. And so I think like the better punishment, other than just, leaving him in prison for the rest of his life, is to forget all about him. To forget his name.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Forget he ever existed. Remember the victims and celebrate the victims, okay? But let the name of Dylann Roof and the hateful ideology that he espoused be forgotten and relegated to the dustbin of history. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.